Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel CA Preparation Hub. Today we are discussing business communication. First chapter is the communication process. Our today's topic is very important. The axioms of interpersonal communication. We already know that a significant amount of communication occurs subconsciously. You do not need to think about subconscious communication. It happens automatically. The outcome of subconscious communication may not necessarily create the desired result. Even when you think you are not sending a message, the absence of message is a message in itself. This is referred as one cannot not communicate. This means communication occurs when we are subconsciously aligned. The axioms of communication attempt to explain how miscommunication can occur if the communicators are not subconsciously aligned. Axioms theory argues that if one of the axioms is disturbed, the communication may fail. So my dear students, our first axiom is inevitability of communication. This means one cannot not communicate. This refers to the fact that individuals cannot remain isolated without communicating or being in an uncommunicative state. An individual with an expressionless face may not appear to be communicating with others, but may by no means be uncommunicative. The examples of inevitability of communications are lack of interest. The lack of interest is the message in itself and may express boredom and concern of something else. Getting it or no, my dear friends? Our second axiom is content and relationship dimension of communication. In certain situations, aside from the content of the message, an understanding of the differences in nature of relationship between the sender of the message and recipient could lead to better understanding of the message. The lack of understanding of the relationship dimension of communication could give rise to conflict and misunderstanding. The communication has relationship dimensions which exist between the parties in terms of family ties, status, and nature of association. This needs to be kept in mind when interpreting the message and understanding the message that is actually communicated. Then our third axiom is irreversibility of communication. Irreversibility of interpersonal communication means that what has once been said or communicated cannot be retrieved, withdrawn, or called back. However, the adverse impact of the communication can be mitigated by sending a qualified message or an apology. For example, adding only joking after having criticized someone. The irreversibility of communication imposes an obligation on sender of the message to exercise care and abstain from stating something which may later cause embarrassment and regret. Our fourth axiom is digital and analogy. Digital means words and gestures. This refers to discrete and defined communication elements such as words and specific gestures with generally agreed meanings. For example, V means peace sign. Analogic means act. It describes communication where the act evokes a particular inference. For example, shaking a fist in someone's face would evoke a message of aggression and violence. Okay, my dear students, after our next axiom is defining relationship by punctuation. This axiom describes to interpret an ongoing sequence of events by labeling one event as a cause and the following event as a response. This means that each party in the communication thinks the other one is the cause of specific behavior. This axiom describes how each person perceives the communication sequence. Both the sender and receiver of the information structures the communication flow differently. Therefore, interpret their own behavior during the communication as merely a reaction of another's behavior. Getting it or no, my dear students? Our next axiom is symmetric and complementary. Symmetrical interaction describes the interaction based on similar power between the parties, and the complementary interaction describes the interaction based on difference in powers. This can be rephrased as saying communication is either symmetric or complementary, depending on whether the relationship of the parties is based on differences or parity or equality. So, here we discuss some concepts, just like one-up concept. This means dominating the control. One party attains to gain control of an exchange by dominating the overall communication. Then one down, give up the control to other party. One party attempts to yield control of the interaction or submit to another party. And the next is one across communication. It is very transit state, very short time state where the communication aims to neutralize the situation, where parties adopt same style, just like one up and one up, one down, and similarly just like one across. It is described as symmetrical, where parties use opposite styling. It is seen as complementary. For example, parent and child or boss and employee. Complementary style can be highly efficient depending on the situation. For example, the hierarchy of the officers and soldiers in the army. Okay, my dear students, thanks for watching my video. If you like it, please subscribe my channel to remain updated about my new videos. Thank you.